Kern up. He is the co-founder and CEO of the CFT Group, and they're a fintech business based in Liscard. In recent years, they have been quietly developing a new product, and they'll soon be launching Duesday, which wants to give you control of how and when you pay your direct debits while earning rewards along the way. So, without any further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Marcus.
Hello. So, how many of you guys are actually software developers or in the software development industry? Okay, that's about 2/3, maybe 3/4 or so. And so, everybody who hasn't put their arm up, you're definitely not working in software? Yeah? I'm not so sure of that. Anyway, it might make sense a little bit later on. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our company first, because in a way that's always a build, and that's what I should be doing. And I think, sort of, it's good for us, but I actually want to discuss something else a bit later on. So what we do as a company is there's our headline, we turn bill payments into relationships. At the moment, the whole bill payment experience is something that people find slightly sort of annoying, slightly boring, and we felt there is something in that overall relationship between an energy company, a gym, a telephone company, that can be a bit more exciting, and it could be a bit more of a two-way relationship. So, one of the key things in the payment aspect that stops that from doing is what it feels like. And we're focusing on recurring payments. So not the one-off purchases, this is something that you pay every month. Your bills and so on. So, direct debits this year, 1968, that's what I was going with this. It's 50 years old, basically. 50 years ago, direct debit was invented. And it's because of it like this. We'll give you the keys to our account. You can help yourself take as much money as you want, whenever you want. That's literally the way this works. So if the company wants to be bad, they can take as much money as they want out of your account. Nothing's stopping them. And you are actually not all the wiser. You have no idea what's happening. Because all that you know is you can see your bank account details, but that's about it. So you can't actually, don't have notification into any of your devices, or not even emails from your bank that this is actually happening. You get your bill usually 2 weeks in advance, which is really confusing. It says, here's your phone bill, it's £50.34, I'm going to take it in 2 weeks' time. Not that anybody remembers these days, but that's kind of the rhythm, the way that's part of the rules, the way this works. And a lot of people have that experience. Money is just going. Specifically on people on lower incomes, that's the area why you don't see people taking this up. If people don't take up direct debits in the energy industry, they don't get the discounts. That's the sort of thing that's called the poverty tax, where people effectively don't get the discounts because they themselves feel too worried to participate in these sort of things. When you have a problem in communication. So you can't actually, you start calling up call centers, you start in queues, you explain to them maybe why you can't pay or where's the money gone that you did there. There isn't a direct communication that goes along with your payment itself. And then there is this experience of feeling locked in. So this feeling of I'm on this payment plan, and anybody who has signed up to the gym in January gets this experience. That you feel like, oh yeah, great, this is going to be the year where I'm going to lose a few pounds, and I'm going to just totally exercise. You go January, you go February. In March, you kind of haven't gone. In April, you didn't go. By May time, you look at your bank account and go, oh God, money's still coming out. What do? Everybody just calls up the bank and says like, just cancel this. Nobody goes into the gym and says, I don't like exercising anymore, which is really bad to the gym. So again, it comes back to this idea of, you're not hearing me, there's no real communication. And then finally, this experience of, it is again, because it's 50 years old, the way this works is a money-taking request, a debit request, can only ever be taken out of a single account. So what you do, you start setting up a joint account. Instead of having the technology taking money out of two accounts, you yourself have to set up a joint account, and you have to fund it out of your individual accounts. That's what a lot of couples are doing. Sharers haven't even got the option, so one person pays electricity, the other person pays the gas bill, the next person pays the whatever else is coming next, and then at the end of the month there's this big argument around this. So all of these sort of things is where we got with this, and specifically Duesday. That's kind of the brand, by the way. I'll leave a few of these cards lying around later on that give you access to the product. It's all a bit about that you can, as a consumer, on your mobile, you can effectively see what debits are coming up, when they're coming up. You can, as I said before, they come usually 2 weeks before the actual debit date, so you can actually pay earlier. You can get rewarded with this, you can pay a bit less, or you get loyalty points. We call them Duros, so that's the little thing down here. Or you can share bills with your friends. And when the electricity bill comes out, it comes out of 2, 3, or 4 accounts, and so on. And there's lots of other things I can tell you a little bit about in the pub. This is the way the thing looks. Speeding up a bit, because there's probably to 3/4 of you the area that we're interested in. So these are the technologies that we're using overall. So we focused on Java just to make sure we actually get some developers. We were lucky that we found 2 of them that are actually working with Erlang. I worked with Erlang before in my previous company, and it's a very interesting environment that is specifically in a transaction-based business allows you to scale really well and have incredible uptime. You can change the engine literally as you fly with this. Some of the other technologies here that we work with, we obviously have work with Swift and Android natively now. So if anything of this tickles your fancy, get in touch. We're now 12 people. Some of the people, we got 1 person in London and 1 person in Madrid, and actually since last week we also have 1 person in Manchester, and we're growing quite organically. So we stretch ourselves a bit until we get to the point where we say we need another person, then we add another person to it, and we were able to grow the team within the last 14 months. So it was Cornwall actually really worked out for us. If you happen to be anywhere near Liscott, I always say don't discard Liscott, that's where it is. Come along, we have a great coffee machine. I can highly recommend this. I'll make you coffee. It'd be nice to have a chat. We have a whole office, we have a whole building there with 3 floors. We're just using the ground floor at the moment, and it's a lot of fun. Now, there's something else. So when I thought yesterday, I was on the train, I came from London yesterday, last night, and I thought, I'm doing this all the time. I'm talking about my business and so on. But what would it be that we would be interested in discussing in the pub later on? And nothing to do with my profit or my sort of, thinking. But last night on the train home, I was reading a lot of the news, as I'm sure you do as well, and thinking about we are in an incredibly privileged position. So software development is still one of the highest in average sort of paid jobs. Maybe I'll take the bankers out at this point. But for the career that we can have and the amount of people that are getting into this career and are still commanding really good salaries, we have actually, we're the lucky ones overall. And we're still overpaid. That's my view. It might be controversial, maybe that's not what you're really thinking. But it's still, we should count ourselves in a way lucky, and that sort of experience that for the next foreseeable future, I'd say for at least for the next 20 years until AI is taking all of our jobs as well. Until that point in time, we will be having a very secure future, and that's why I encourage all the young people as well to say, you're probably still going to be fine. This is all going to look after you in the way that you look after it as well. And that's actually everywhere the case. Now, the United States is kind of the outlier. We got a mean here of about 117,000 US dollars. Europe, we're about half that, but it's still compared to other professions and the earning potential that we have, what we can do. We are still the lucky ones. And then, I'm not sure if you know Mark Andreessen's sort of quote that he made in 2011, which was around software eats the world. You got all these different sectors, and you think, oh, this is maybe the salaries of what all these people earn in different sectors. This is what the software developers earn in all these different sectors. Software is absolutely everywhere. And the thought that I had last night is that it comes with a responsibility. And where this comes from is, I don't know what happened there. Are you still there? There it is. this story. Obviously you all know what this is all about. This man, chickens coming home to roost. A scenario where you develop a product and thousands of developers, people like us, were sitting there coding away and thinking, that's kind of good, that's kind of cool. I've developed this social network and the people paying with their information that they give to us and allow them to just show me some ads. Ads are kind of like neutral, right? They're not really doing anything. I don't really look at ads, right? But obviously it's a billion-dollar industry. It's come out of nowhere. And now we're in the situation of actually finally realizing some of the impacts of the coding decisions that we made. Some of the responsibilities that we have in enabling these sort of things. Now, Facebook is obviously not just the only one. Facebook worked with Cambridge Analytica. They say like, oh, they just used our system. That's just advertising system. That's what we just do advertising, right? They were very well aware of all the stuff that's going on. They were very well aware of political targeting, of the power that allows them to do it. And in some levels, they were probably gleefully aware of what you can do with technology these days. And what I appeal to, to all of us is that we need to be more responsible and a bit more foresightful what this stuff that we develop every day can lead to. Not sure where you stand with Brexit, but in my view, some of this definitely had its weight. Google, another one. Everybody wants to work for Google, right? This is that's the dream thing. It's on my CV. It's going to be amazing, And you know that sort of slogan here. Don't be evil. Great. What can go wrong, right? Don't know if you've been following the news again 2 weeks ago. Wasn't that? So we had this sort of stuff coming up, right? So TensorFlow, great technology, amazing. How about we're using all the stream of live video that comes out of these drones? We use TensorFlow. We can analyze everything in real time. We find out exactly what happens everywhere. So the letter on the left is 3,000 Googlers getting together and saying, we don't want to do this anymore. We started with don't be evil, and now we're ending up with this stuff. So it's a good sign for, for waking up your conscience and going, we need to think about what we're doing. What are the consequences of what we're doing? And then almost last example here. It's a little bit longer ago, when was it, 14, I think it was. A bit more of an indirect story, but another great giant, Facebook, Google, Cisco, huge companies, right? NSA opens their boxes, modifies their software, hardware. That's a little picture from the unboxing party before they reboxed it and then sent it on. Without this man, we wouldn't know this, right? So us engineers, we have a strong responsibility to do the right thing, to speak up and to do things that not just, to do our own stuff. Now this is hypothetical, but I'm sure this is happening, right? Everybody's been to London, I guess, at some stage. Oyster cards, tap in, tap out. Everybody knows where everybody else is. You think computation, that's kind of a hard problem, right? How do you know where everybody is? London is the most CCTV city in Europe, maybe even in the world. Surely, this is too hard of a problem to solve. It probably isn't. In 2014, before Snowden said you can take a full take of all internet requests, a full take. Everybody would say that's impossible. It's impossible. That is probably possible. It's probably possible that you can track every single individual in London today. It's probably possible. We just don't know that. So there are people that they're working on this, and it's those people that we need to think about. And what would you do in those sort of scenarios? Would you be saying that, maybe we shouldn't be doing this? I love this one, actually. It's a piece of art that somebody did. Who here knows what this refers to? One, anybody else? Two, three, four, Black Mirror, yeah? So Black Mirror, if you haven't seen it, you should probably see it. You probably can only stomach one a night. But it gives you just this slight projection into today, bit extrapolated towards a dystopian future, what could happen. And I think it's healthy for us to think about these things. And so this would be probably the worst line you could come up with afterwards. It wasn't my idea. I was just coding the thing, right? You should be aware of what you're doing with your software, and I include myself into this as well. I'm not, I don't really have any big answers here, but I thought these are things we should talk about. How can we sort of come up with something that we feel confident that our children or grandchildren are going to point back to us and say, well, why did you do this? Anyway, So points to make is, my sister is like the complete Luddite from with all matters IT. So she never had a mobile phone. She's like burned her car. She doesn't. I don't know how she lives, but she sort of manages. Now she's sort of my hero because she can sort of maneuver this world without participating. Realistically, it's no longer optional. Our stuff has to be used by every single person, and so that gives us greater responsibility. We can't get away with saying, like, well, if you don't like it, don't use it. You know, we have to build stuff that actually is responsible for everybody. And digital elites, now I'm not sure if that's quite the right term, but digital elites for me means that, oh, I know how to not leave a trace. I know how not to be tracked. But what about all the others? What about, you know, the fact that I use LastPass and the I used, you know, Telegram and Proton Mail and those sort of things, that's great, it's nice for me. But what about everybody else who can't? We need to participate, they need to participate. So, I actually quite like this. It's causing us all a whole lot of headache, probably depending which companies you work in. GDPR, the principle is going in the right direction. Yeah? General, and the data protection regulation that's now rolling out on the 25th of May. The general idea is it has to be ours, it has to be my information, so I need to have a degree of control over it. It's no longer Facebook's. My data is not Facebook's data, it's my data. It has to be given to me. We have to be forcing things more into that direction of really thinking about the user and being able to pull that sort of control back. Don't do evil, but refuse to do evil. Yeah? So I encourage you to tell, to share, to leak, to open source when you see things going wrong. It's the right thing to do. And pretty much what, you know, lots of neoliberal movements over the last 20 years have done to privatization of our industries and other areas in our lives where it says the market has got to, you know, find a solution to it. The market's got to do this, the market's got to do that. My argument is that maybe the markets and the software, not the markets, shouldn't be really eating the world. So maybe there are areas that we go, rather than solutionizing it, rather than saying, oh yeah, well, we have this privacy challenges, so I'm going to put some other technology on top of it. Maybe there is a moment to sort of step back a bit and go, actually, you know, maybe we'll find an analog way of dealing with this, or a human way of dealing with this. So anyway, so nothing to do with my company, but these are the thoughts which I thought we can talk about later.